Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. This is a recording for HTF 463 Human Nutrition, Nutrition for Life Cycle. This is an overview. Later, we will discuss in detail when you have provided the slides that you have done, at least for 5 slides according to each title. We'll think about it. I'm getting a second thoughts for that. But as I promised, this is my recording. These slides will be cut into several short sections according to the life cycle in human. Okay, so first of all, okay, where is my picture? I couldn't see my picture, but I hope you can see this. Put this on top. Okay. Okay, can I just use this platform so that I can still see my picture and I can still speak, because I'm not sure whether this will be when I change the the screen, then my picture is lost. So I would like to keep my picture for you. Okay, maybe later I will change interchangeably, right? Okay. Okay, this is first of all, I would like to discuss on the learning objectives as usual. For these chapters, you need to at least know about you need to know how to plan menus for different life cycle. Okay, and you need to identify nutrients that are important for each life cycle and why they are important. You need to know how to plan menus for adolescents. Adolescents have some issues. The children also have issues in food intake, so that will be discussed also. And then later, you need to describe factors that influence the nutritional status of older adults, and identify nutrients of concern for older adults. What is important for them and what are the sources for their food. Okay. And you need to be able to plan menus for healthy older adults. You need to understand what are their issues, what are the problems with older adults or elderly when it comes in about eating balanced and nutritious food. Okay. Describe signs and treatment of eating disorders. How would you plan their meal for especially the people who have eating disorders, and also plan nutritious menus for athletes. You must understand their needs, then only you can plan their meals. Okay. Okay, so a healthy diet, as we have discussed earlier in our courses, healthy diets must consist of healthy carbohydrates, such as you have fruits, we have veggies, you have whole grains, you have also legumes, which is also have carbohydrates, and also a good source for protein, and also soy. Low in refined carbohydrates, such as refined carbohydrates, processed carbohydrates, such as sugar and white flour. You must have more good fats, because we know that some fats are good, as opposed to the myth about fat are always not good. So you must understand we need different kinds of fat in our food intake. You must know which food has very high saturated fats, and which has trans fat, because you understand by now that we are trans fat can have increased risk for cancer. And then emphasize on healthy diet must also emphasize on lean proteins as opposed to proteins that have more saturated fat. So in that case, which has the protein which has little or no red meat, as opposed to the red meat. I mean, we choose the white meat as opposed to the red meat. Okay. Okay, and then nutrition and menu planning for children. Okay, in life cycle, we have babies, we have children, toddlers. Okay, and then we have adolescents, and we have adults. Okay, adults, we have discussed that in detail because every discussion on each topic for your micronutrients and your macronutrients has been focused on adults. Okay, so adults we won't be discussing in this life cycle. We only be discussing on adults when it comes to athletes, and we'll discuss about adolescents and of course the elderly. Okay. Okay, and then for the first group, children. Okay, children need increasing amounts of kilocalories, meaning that they need to have their nutrient intake their calories must increase according to their age. Okay, a 2-year-old needs about 1,000 kilocalories per day, as opposed to by the age of 6 they need at least 1,700 kilocalories per day. That is almost the same as adult. Okay, adult women eat like 2,000 kilocalories per day, and children by the age of 6 needs like 1,700. So you have to feed them so that they get the good amount of kilocalories. Okay, children need more fat up to age 4, and when they are from age 2 to 3, they can eat about 40% of total calories from fat. It's okay for them to eat high fat content because they will stretch it out. They need it. Okay, children from 4 to 18 should keep fat between 25 to 35% of total calorie, mostly unsaturated, and children over 2 years old must limit their saturated and trans fat to 10% or less of total calories. Okay, next we have healthy. Okay. Next we have problem nutrients for children. Okay, the problem for children is fiber, because they eat less content of fiber because they are picky, and they wouldn't want to eat fruits, veggies, whole grains, beans, peas and nuts, everything colorful. They don't want to eat it. So because of that, they lack fiber in their nutrient content, and then iron, the lack of iron. Okay, because of the lack of iron, they will feel more fatigue and affects their behavior, mood and attention span. They couldn't focus on their study because they do not have a good amount of iron in their system. Okay, sources for iron is from lean meat, whole grain and enriched breads and cereals, eggs and legumes. Okay. And the other nutrient which is problematic for the children are found in calcium and vitamin D. When they are babies, they are fed with milk. But after some time, when they are like 4 years old and older, they would be picky and do not want to eat certain kind of food. So they may be lack of calcium and vitamin D, and both are found in milk. And this calcium and vitamin D is needed to build bones and teeth. So for children 2 to 3 years old, they need like 2 cups per day, and children from 4 to 8 needs like 2.5 cups per day. So the bottom line is you still must encourage them to take milk and milk products. Okay, although they have outgrown their age for drinking milk. Okay. Growth spurts, okay, growth spurts and food jacks, this is terms that you must understand because as I have mentioned earlier, this is where that you need to explain or you need to define, give definition for growth spurts and food jacks. Okay, what is growth spurts? Growth spurts are times when requirements for kilocalories and nutrients are greatly increased due to their rapid growth. Okay, these are the time when they stretch it out. Maybe when they are babies, they are plump, they are chubby, but suddenly they don't look chubby as they don't look as chubby as they are when they are babies, but they start to stretch it out. They start to be taller and be leaner in their body composition. Okay, so these are growth spurts, and these growth spurts always be connected with their appetite improves because they will be more hungry, and you need to feed them whenever constantly. I mean constantly meaning that they must have like snack time. Their intake calories would be increased, but in some instances some children do not, if they have growth spurts but they do not have the good appetite for that. So meaning that as they become leaner, they may look skinnier than when they are babies. So that is, we have to be careful for that, and we have to feed them accordingly. And then there's food jacks. Okay, food jacks is a habit of young children in which they eat mostly one food, such as hot dogs, for a period of time. That is their, that is the only meal that they like and they wouldn't and they want to eat. So as for me, if you ask for my opinion, I would say that if that is what they like at that time, you just feed them with the food. But of course, you must encourage them to eat other kind of food to fill in their content or fill in their nutrient requirements. Okay. So these are sometimes being discussed in nutrition studies where preschoolers and children are fussy eaters and they pick their food very very seriously, and they do not want to try food that are not familiar for them. So for instance, this is where the term neophobia comes about, whereby they have the phobia for new food. So when they don't recognize the food, then they do not want to eat it. Okay, and then how to make meal times for preschoolers less stressful. Okay, make meal times as relaxing as possible. Don't impose, don't bribe, don't force, don't do anything that would be stressful for in their meal time, eating time. So and then you have to trust them when they say that they are full. In fact, even if you see that they eat not to your standard of consumption, but if they say that, okay, this is enough for me, I'm okay, I do not want to eat anymore, so you should be considerate and do not force them to finish up their food, because if you do so, then this will make them they're scared of eating. They avoid eating altogether, and they avoid the food also. So we must learn to encourage. We must learn the children learn to hate and the food that they are encouraged to eat. If you keep on saying that you must eat this, you must finish this, then eventually they will start to be hateful towards the food that you ask them to finish up. Okay, once the children know that you won't allow eating to be made into an issue of control, they will eat when they are hungry. When they are hungry, they will eat whatever that you serve them, but you have to serve them a balanced meal. Okay, how to make meal times for preschoolers less stressful. You can help them choose what they eat from the more healthier choices. But let them participate in food selection and preparation. Make sure they have appropriate size of utensils and can reach the table comfortably. They must feel that they are comfortable while eating. Eat at fairly regular times. Serve small portions so that they feel the sense of achievement that they have finished their meal. Don't use desserts as a reward, but make it as a normal part of the meal so that they know that this is not that something. The thing is, when you try to make them, when you try to what do you call, you try to not to give them the food that they like, they will try to make that an excuse. Okay, they will feel that, okay, this is the meal that you don't want them to eat, this is the food that they don't want to eat, then that will be their favorite food, so it's like, tug of war between the children and their parents when it comes to eating. Okay, so how to make how to make meal times less stressful. You need to introduce them to food that constantly. I mean, if that is the food that they do not like, then maybe you will try to introduce that every day and every day, and and often for them to be exposed to the meal, and then they will eventually like the meal. Okay. Okay, what influence a child habits? Okay, the thing is, when you wanted to teach the children a good habit in eating, the parents must show that if you want them to eat fruits, then the parents have to eat fruit as well. If you want them to eat vegetables, the parents or the siblings or the friends are eating the fruits or the vegetables as well. Okay, so and then the parents' interactions are also important. Television commercials, you have to what you call screen the commercials, especially which are always putting the junk food or not healthy food kind of commercials on TV. So you would want to discuss about that with the children, how to choose their food carefully and what do you call, diligently. Okay, and also the internet. Now that children are always exposed to internet, you must also look through the commercials on the internet that are influencing them towards eating certain type of food. Okay, and then school breakfast and lunch programs. As I think I've mentioned to you that I was involved with a school breakfast program, but that program was not transpired. But the bottom line for the objective for the program is to provide a good balanced meal to school children. And this can also be made available by the parents. If now the parents are providing the children food, so the parents should be providing nutritious and balanced meal for the children to bring to school to eat. Okay, and then menu planning. Okay, how to plan for preschoolers. Offer simply prepared food and avoid foods that are mixed together. Children do not like to mix their food all together. Present new foods repeatedly. You know that they wouldn't try the food the first time you showed them. They might want to try it after several times. According to a study, after 12 times, then maybe they would try the food. So you must keep on giving them the good food instead. Okay. Offer at least one colorful food at one time. In fact, if you wanted to introduce carrot, so for the rest of the week, carrot is in the meal every time. Okay. Preschoolers may be reluctant to eat vegetables. They are more likely to be accepted if it's served raw and cut up as finger food. So serve cooked veggies as a little undercooked. The raw is much better appreciated than the cooked vegetables, because the cook will look mushy, will the color will turn differently. So you might want to make it colorful in its natural color. Okay. Provide at least one soft or moist food that is easy to chew, and crisps or chewy food to develop chewing skills. Avoid strong flavored and highly salted food. In fact, for children, it's not advisable to add salt and sugar into their original food, because then you will make their blood threshold into a higher perception of salty and what do you call, and salty, sourness and whatnot, and sweetness. Okay. Serve carbohydrates such as whole grains in terms of in a method that the children will enjoy. Maybe serve it with a with a sandwich, with sausage. They like sausage, so you put the sausage into the bread and so that they are more accepted. Avoid lumps in soup, because lumps will look hideous in their food. Before age 4, serve food in bite-sized pieces to avoid choking, and you have to give them like moist and soft food, so that it is easier for them to chew. Okay. So serve food warm, not hot. Cut up fruits and veggies to make it into good snacks. Serve good sources of nutrients that may be lacking, such as fiber, iron, calcium, vitamin D. Minimize choking hazards, such as you slice your hot dogs into smaller bite size. Avoid hard foods or large chunks. Remove pits. Even for grapes, they have like seeds, so you have to remove it first before giving it to the children. Cut grapes in quarters. Spread PB thin, very thinly. Avoid popcorn and hard or gummy candies, because candy sometimes it is chewable, but they couldn't cut the chewy gum into half, so they tend to swallow it whole. So that increases the risk for choking. Okay. Okay, school-age children, they are better in choosing their food. Generally have better appetites, because they are more they walk about. They have more activities, so they have better appetites. Will eat a wider range of foods, because they understand different kind of food. But it is important to give them a good heavy breakfast, because that breakfast will help them perform in school. They will focus better. Okay. Okay. So okay. What can parents do for children to eat healthy foods and exercise? You must be a good role model. You must eat balanced, good food before your children will follow suit. Have nutritious food choices readily available at home. If you put in if you have junk food at home, then that will be the kind of food that the children are served, so they are familiar with that kind of food, and they will like that food better than the healthier choice of food. Okay, make sure the kids get breakfast, have regular family meals as much as possible, limit television and media usage, encourage physical activity now that children are more inclined to internet games, video games. So we must have at least a day that they do not be addicted to the games, but they are actually doing some physical activity. Okay, children need at least 60 minutes of moderate intensity activity most days of the week, preferably daily. It is better to have daily exercise rather than just once in a week. Okay. Other guidelines would be serve a wide variety of food, provide snack choices that are good snack choices such as fresh fruit, vegetables, muffins, nuts. Okay. Balance menu items higher in fat with those lower in fat. The children need fat, not that if the parents are on diet, that doesn't mean that the children must eat low fat, low calorie diet as well. The children need higher in fat as well as lower in fat food. So they can eat almost anything, and they can eat regular serving size by this age school children, 6 to 12. Okay, and then pay attention to serving sizes, because although they can eat anything as the adults eat, but pay attention to the serving size. They do not have to finish the portion for adults in one sitting. So 3/4 of a plate for adult is good enough for children. They do not have to finish it all. Offer iron-rich foods such as hamburger, peanut butter, baked beans, chili, dried fruits, whole grain and enriched grains. Offer high-fiber food. Serve good sources of calcium. Breakfast is important, which is rich in protein and good carbohydrates. Okay. The other thing is, okay, I think that's about it for children. Next will be nutrition for adolescents. I will have another recording for this later. Thank you.